it is good news that we have some reprieve and tariff relief from goods that are CUSMA compliant. But I think what we've now, just in the last few weeks, really discovered on both sides of the border is we were unaware of the difference between how many of those goods weren't actually registered under our agreement, our USMCA trade agreement. So we have small and medium enterprises, the majority of which are just scrambling to figure out now, how do they become registered under our trade agreement? They may have been just trading with the most favored nation rate. And so you have a probably 80 to 90% coverage of goods that would be, compliant, but not registered. And so now we have a whole bunch of different numbers of what.
Hang on. If you are dealing in a compliant goods, but you haven't registered, then you wouldn't be able to get the benefit of the USMCA umbrella, and you'd be on the 25%. This is a mess.
It is a complete mess. And I think, my heart goes out to our small and medium sized businesses who, just didn't, have maybe the capacity to do the paperwork before. And now all of a sudden, rather than kind of, doing business with the MFN rate, they are slapped with this tariff. So we have hotlines now, new hotlines set up from our government in Canada to support these businesses. I hope the same is happening for, U.S. companies, because everybody's very, very confused.
How far are we in seeing the damage? Because I realize we're at the beginning of the process and there's still a lot of confusion, but you with your members are actually, if you will, at the coal face. And you can see what's happening. So where are we in terms of witnessing damage?
Oh, well, let me give you an example of just where this gets really difficult and where it's maybe, giving us all some pause and the administration some pause as well. So when you look at tariffing parts, but you wouldn't tariff the parts that are, you're looking at origin and their US or Canada parts, when you're looking at those tariffs both ways, our sectoral tariffs, if you're looking at the ones that apply to steel and aluminum, you take a can of beer, Richard, the beer you wouldn't tariff, but the can is subject to tariffs. But apply that same logic to an automobile, and I don't think, close to being able to say we can all do the work and the paperwork involved in sorting out how much of this car is tariff and tariff exempt.
Candace, has it dawned on you that you're not going back to what was there before? That whatever comes on the other side, the seven stages of grief, where the final bit is the acceptance that whatever was before has gone and it ain't coming back?
Well, Richard, there's a stage of grief that's very important before acceptance, and that's the bargaining stage. So I think from a Canadian perspective, we're coming out of the anger stage and denial stage, acknowledging that this relationship is forever changed. But once we're past our election in Canada, which is April 28th, we are hopeful about a comprehensive conversation about our relationship between our two great nations and, how we need to be approaching economic security. Perhaps some of those impacts that you spoke of, because they are very real, the cost to businesses, the cost to even contemplating moving production. I could walk you through oil, I could walk you through auto, aluminum and steel. We're talking major, not only capital costs, but the time it takes to rejig supply chains, which between our two countries are competitive and integrated and secure. And we're absolutely hopeful that through the bargaining stage of grief, Richard, we can maintain our trade agreement.